Hello, International Crime Fiction. My name is Andrew Potter. Today I'm giving my presentation on the book To Each His Own, written by the Sicilian author Leonardo Sciascia. To give the setting for the book, it's set in Sicily in the 1960s in a small town of about 7,500 people. Main characters of the book are Professor Laurana, Rosello, Signora Luisa, Dr. Rossio, and Pharmacist Mano. Professor Laurana is an Italian history teacher at a local school who still lives at home with his mom. He's described throughout the book as a flirt who can never follow through and causes him some problems along the way. He's a bumbling amateur detective in that he does not initially start out to solve the crime and he has no formal training, but he wants to figure out why the local town marshal has overlooked such an obvious clue. This leads him to stumble his way through the investigation, landing him in a place he could never have imagined. Power players of the book, by far the most powerful person and influential person in the book is Rosello. He's a local political leader, described as a man who never takes a side, but always lands on the right side of an argument. He's from a very powerful, wealthy family in the area, and he has a guy for everything in every situation. Signora Luisa, to a minor extent, holds some of the power, as she is the widow of Dr. Rossio and the cousin of Rosello. A couple of the recurring themes that I identified throughout the book, most notably, were the idea of political identity. People either fell in the Christian Democratic Party or the Socialist Party. Corruption and greed is definitely a major theme throughout the book, as Professor Laurana finds himself trying to weave his way through this corrupt society. To a lesser extent, the idea of a boys' club. It's essentially a local meeting area where the men of the town gather in the evening to discuss political ideals and social ideas at the time. And the role of religion and the church plays in people's everyday lives. Professor Laurana kicks off his investigation speaking with the rector of the local church. The letter that is presented to Pharmacist Mano in the beginning of the book was delivered anonymously by the local letter carrier. It's composed of newspaper clippings with an ominous threat that Pharmacist Mano will pay for something he's done in the past. Mano jokes about the letter later on that evening at the social club with his friends, including Professor Laurana and Rosello, and Dr. Rossio. The letter is presented to the town marshal, who, in Professor Laurana's eyes, overlooks one of the key clues. The crime that takes place is Dr. Rossio and Pharmacist Mano are murdered while they are out on a hunting trip, described in the book as August 23rd, 1964. After the murders are discovered, the whole town speculates that Pharmacist Mano was having a secret affair with a local girl who was seen frequenting his pharmacy in the previous weeks. This unfortunately leads to the girl's social ruin, as she is decried as an adulteress. The investigation kicks off with Professor Laurana meeting with the rector of the local church to figure out which newspaper these clippings came from. During the course of the investigation, Professor Laurana finds himself in towns all across Italy, meeting with former classmates, family members of the deceased, most notably his father, and a possible love interest. As his investigation goes through, he develops a theory that seems so ridiculous, but he doesn't have enough evidence to present it to the local authorities. And he quickly learns that a lot of people in his life aren't who they seem to be. He faces the reality of going up against one of the most powerful and influential people in the region. Some of the social dynamics that I identified throughout the book seem to be reflective of the time of the 1960s, both here and in Italy. Most notably was after the murder of Dr. Rossio, there was talk of who will marry Signora Luisa, considering she has a young child at home. And the overarching constant presence of political identity, corruption, and greed. So how does this stack up against some of the examples that we've seen over the previous couple of weeks? It has a crime and a suspect, and there's going to be a spoiler alert here, so I'll give it a few seconds for people to kind of tune out until we're done with this. It has no real conclusion. The book just kind of ends with a certain event, and you're left with no definite, no definite conclusion. Nobody going to jail. Nobody being prosecuted. In conclusion, my overall takeaway from the book was that it was written more as a social commentary than a murder mystery. It was a social commentary on the political and corrupt ideals in Sicily at the time. That's all I have. Thanks for watching.